everyone.
Take a seat, Taite. It's lovely to see you. Thank you very much indeed. First of all, Taite, can I just ask you, and you can just tell everybody, whereabouts in Cardiff do you come from? Tell us a bit about Taite. What's your background?
Well, I come from Ely, which is not the most prestigious part of Cardiff, which is exactly where Jason came from. Before I met Jason, it wasn't a place I was proud to say I was from, admittedly. But speaking to Jason and hearing his story and seeing how far he's come, it made me proud of where I came from and that I couldn't move past what Ely looks like from the outside.
And before you started working with us as well, because I know that you want to get into this business, let's call it this business, the creative industries, did you feel like you could get there, or did you think nobody ever gave you kind of any inspiration that you could actually achieve in this business?
So living where I live, creative industries isn't somewhere that's pushed. It's not somewhere that's spoken of as much. You're taught to be a teacher or a doctor or anything that pays the bills, I suppose. And working in the creative industries is hard to get into, as I've now known, trying to get into it myself, as you probably knew. So yeah, it's not somewhere that's ever been a reality, I thought, for me, or for people like me, until you, to be honest.
Yeah. And so when you've been listening and you've obviously been talking to people today, what's been the response? What have you learned today about the creative industries, Taite?
Well, I've learned that it's not just doctors or teachers or nurses that make a difference in the world, that can make a positive impact. It's people, producers, writers, people who make anything creative in the industries, music, the things that are put out into the world that make people happy can also have a positive impact on the planet, which is obviously important, so important now, as well as being a diverse community, an industry that everyone feels welcome in.
And changing the game, basically.
Yeah.
Effectively, isn't it? That's what it is. It's changing the game, if I can use that term. And going back to you from a personal perspective, because we've heard about many members of our community don't get the chance to get in. And Michael sat in that very chair and said, we don't hear the voices of our communities. I know. I had to battle really hard to get a documentary commissioned about where we grew up in last year. It was BAFTA nominated, by the way. Just for the record.
You have to get that
Just
in,
for the
didn't you?
record. But it was really hard because I got the feeling that they didn't feel as if they wanted to hear that story, which was so important to me, you, your dad, your mum, and our community. It was a pivotal moment in our history. And do you feel as if that has got to change, that attitude, when it comes to telling stories, like Michael said?
Yeah, 100%. Things do have to change. And being here today, I feel like the change is beginning. The change has started. People are trying to. Voices are being spoken, but they need to be heard more.
And when you thought about going into journalism, before you started at Cardiff and Vale, did you ever think that journalism or working in telly, radio, films, movies, gaming, VR, whatever, could be achieved where you grew up?
No. To put it plainly, no. Didn't think it would be, because where I came from, people didn't do that. It was a cycle of deprivation, so people would have low-income jobs and they wouldn't be able to teach their kids the ambition of having jobs in the creative industry, of looking outside of our little council estate. But people are inspired. People do want to do that. They just don't feel that they can.
Yeah. Well, you've done an amazing job today, and you've been incredible at the Academy, and you are going to fly. I know it. I believe in you. You are amazing. And just finally, just tell us, how difficult has it been? You finished your course, didn't you? And then you finished with us. How tough has it been trying to find that job and what you want to do?
It has been really difficult. The only thing, I was looking for jobs and applying for apprenticeships, but I didn't have any experience. And being 21, I'm not as young as a lot of the people applying straight away. I didn't have any experience, and it was hard to get into it. But I found that the thing that made me stand out was my tenacity, my will, the ambition. I really wanted to do it, and I knew that I could. because it was the want that made me want to do it.
Yeah, you are very driven, and that's why you're going to succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Taite Johnson. Fantastic. Well done, Taite. Brilliant stuff. I'm very proud of you. Well done.